First of all, thank you for inviting me to share my experience and what I learned. And I want to talk about my tips where hopefully it will be useful for you. Okay, what I want to talk a little bit about me, like just to understand what kind of advice or what kind of tips I'm going to give so that it makes more sense to you. And problem with current approach, how do you approach the job hunting or getting into a job from a career switching especially. And I got some of the better approach I think you can try so that it increases your chances of getting or switching your job into your dream role. Yeah, then we can have a Q&A. Again, it's not superly prepared, but I'm kind of unstructured. Let me know in the chat section if you have any question. We can talk during the after in the Q&A section. Okay, about me, I'm Anil Kumar. I'm currently a technical product manager at Commerce Tools. I'm also a front-end development for designers, a mentor at Career Foundry, and I run a product prototyping and product management community events in Berlin. I used to run the physical events before COVID, but now doing the online events like this. I have 11 years of agile product development experience and mainly web development and a little bit of UX and product management, basically on the strategy side. And I also speak regularly on the topic of prototyping and front-end web technologies. Yeah, and my journey, I'm from India. And I started my career as a Java developer at a consulting company called Sapient. And I was so much interested into the user interface. I switched my role in the same company rather than working mainly on the back end. So I kind of made my role into front-end developer instead of a Java developer, made a switch inside the company itself. And later I joined at SAP as a JavaScript developer, mainly building some web interfaces. Got into introduction into design thinking. If you have heard the term design thinking, I was involved in the first design thinking project, which was in 2012 and even 2011 at SAP. And I always had a passion for design process and applying those usabilities, prototyping, and validating those assumptions. And later I moved into, I worked for 3 years in Bangalore and moved into Dubai. There, again, I also worked as a JavaScript developer for a Danish company called One.com. And even though I was primarily a JavaScript developer working on the user interfaces, I always had a passion of fixing usability bugs, thinking about user more on a user-centric way. And currently I'm based in Berlin, and this is my 6th year in Berlin. I really enjoy, especially the community and the opportunity for networking and knowledge sharing and so on. I've been in Berlin since 2015 April. Okay, enough about myself, telling about myself. Let's get into the real content. One of the problem I see currently when you apply for the job, either you're coming from boot camp or you're also coming from experience, is the competition. When I say about competition, I'm talking about the number of applicants, or it could be number of platforms people are applying them, right? I just today morning, took a quick look into the LinkedIn job search and just looked for front-end developer and UX designer. It's kind of look at here, posted 1 day ago, this job, 394 applicants. Maybe the people who clicked apply, maybe not all of them apply, but still this number is quite high. And also for design roles, it's really quite high, right? 1 week ago, 73 applicants. And just 5 days ago, 42 applicants, right? you see that you're competing with so many people. I didn't look into other platforms. I just looked into only LinkedIn, right? There could be a platform people are applying from Glassdoor or Indeed or LinkedIn or Zing, or maybe directly applying through websites. So definitely there is a lot of competition, right? A lot of competitions, especially a lot of people are applying. And the reason I shared you this is you have to understand that the recruiters, it could be UX recruiters or the front-end developer recruiters, they have to screen through a lot of applications. And with that, like you end up having these kind of emails, right? Whom here are not seeing this kind of email, right? Like you applied, you get an email, rejection email, like, hey, unfortunately, after careful consideration, we have to come to the decision that we will not be impressed by your profile. We were impressed by your profile. The qualification of other applications were more closely matching the requirements for this position. And the problem is, this is, yes, good, okay. I understand there are so many applicants, and the problem is you don't get why. I'm going to talk about in the latest section what you can do now in order to learn from these mistakes. Okay, with that, I have some tips for you, or my recommendations for you, which I felt when I looked back, things which really helped me to get into job, and which are not really just applying a job, but kind of more in a different way, different entry points. The first one is community engagement. When I'm talking about community engagement, it could be a meetup, or it could be some design jam events, or it could be an online community. And for example, I'm talking about the story of when I was in Dubai in 2015 and 2014. I started a community event called Design Jam together with other designers. There, while I was while organizing, while I'm preparing some prototypes, one of the organizers noticed that I'm really good at designing things and prototyping and customer journey mapping things. And they offered me a job of customer experience manager at Emirates Airlines. And without interview, I had kind of opportunity to get an offer that was only possible through the organizers. They were able to see my work and with my community initiative. Yeah, that's one example. That's why it's important to get engaged where you want to be. It could be any UX communities if you're applying for UX design roles. It could also be your front-end role if you're applying. So engaging in communities is really, really helpful. And for example, the recent example is about community engagement is currently I'm based, as I said, I'm a technical product manager at Commerce Tools. How did I get this job? You might be wondering, right? I actually started a community called Head Lessons in 2019, November. I ran 3 events, and one of the events, one of the HR recruiter from our current company, Commerce Tools, attended that event. And we connected through LinkedIn, and it was, I got to know him in the meetup, and I was so much impressed by the company, what the company is doing, what product they are offering, and which is a technical product. And I always wanted to work on being in both technical and also product management. Just don't want to work on just on a product management. And for me, that was a perfect role to work on a really growth company. And that's how I got to know. And it was a perfect match for me. And I got that offer. And currently I'm the technical product management there. Yeah, that's why the community is important. Moving on to the next one, mentor. Having a mentor is really, really important. And I'm gonna talk about it, how to get a mentor in the next section. But it could be your mentor at Ironac, or it could be at your network. Have a set of mentors. This is really, really important. Why? Because first of all, they're going to give you feedback and suggestions and thoughts, what you can do better, what they notice that, hey, you are good at that, go in that direction, and you can do it better. Another thing is your mentor might have a wider network, and his network has a lot of connections where the jobs you might be looking for. It happened to me 2 years ago, in the same in Berlin, and I applied for a job for a product manager role, and I didn't get the finalized because there were like 3 candidates, including me in the final out of 150 candidates, and each one having the same kind of competency. And of course, I got a rejection letter that, hey, we liked your profile, but we have to choose one out of this. So I, in terms, asked them like, hey, what could have made this better, this role as my application? Then I started talking with the head of product, and now he's my mentor. And we talked about how to approach and what are things to increase. He helped me to get into other opportunities. And I just shared my CV, and he shared with other companies. I got a kind of interview call immediately, like the next day itself. So this is kind of one benefit I'm talking about, right? So not just your network, with having mentors have a lot of other connections. They can be potentially, can kind of boost your kind of recruiting process, like the interview process. And with that, it's a credible right. When mentor refers, hey, here's the good candidate, I've seen him working well, and he's a great team player. When somebody refers through referral, a strong referral, the chances of getting that and also cutting down the number of interview process will be higher. Yeah, and also other thing which I feel is also important is have mentors from your dream companies. When I say like, hey, I want to work in some the fashion industry, I want to work in some e-commerce industry, I want to work on some customer experience or finance sector, things like that. And I would ask you to try out the mentors for your dream companies. How can you do that? One way is start working on a side project. Pick their product. If you're a UX designer, look at what are the usability problems they got, and how can you improve their design process. Do you see any problem in terms of user experience? Or you could also take some their competitor product or things like that, right? And once you got a set of suggestions, it can be a blog post. And with that blog post, you can ask for that. You can reach out to designers from your competitor company, your dream company where you want to work, and ask them for a friend request. Hey, I got a nice case study for you. Do you like to have a short 20 minutes review with me? I would like to learn about it. Because you're talking about their product, definitely they'll be interested into review. And with that, you're not just asking for a direct connection, but you're instead asking for kind of helping them. So definitely most of the case, it really works well. So that way you can build a good rapport. And you could also share once you've gone through the multiple calls where you can say you're looking for an opportunity. And when there is a next time, and when there is openings, new roles, they definitely kind of refer you because they've seen you are capable of doing that work. And another truth I can say is that most of the job openings, what you see on these platforms, there are a lot of job openings which are still yet to be created. And it takes kind of some time to get into those job boards like LinkedIn or Glassdoor. For example, if you have a good mentor, if there is an opening in their company, the time it takes to get into the job board might be 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And once you have connection with such mentors, the chances of like referring you and asking you to apply even before it gets into the job board can really reduce the competition. I can talk more about it if you have any further questions. Okay. I think I talked briefly about this. What if I don't have relevant experience, right? A lot of openings are asking for 3 or 5 years or 4 years experience or 2 years experience, and you're doing a career switch, and you always have a question that, yes, you did a bootcamp project, but I really don't have real experience of real projects, right? So for me, the question is not about what. for me, the question is, how can I get that experience now? What are the ways I can get this experience? So for me, it's about there are different ways to create project depending on what you want to choose. You can start collecting your learnings on YouTube videos, start creating vlogs, or you can also start writing Medium blogs about what you care and what you learned. That also shows over the period of time, like 3 months or 6 months, you learned a lot of content, and you can share that, hey, I'm really passionate on this, what I'm talking about. I really know what I'm talking about. I'm not a junior. I got experience with that, and kind of you can showcase that. And another example is if you're a front-end developer, there's 100 days code challenge, right? You can start working on it, and you can daily work on commit your changes to GitHub. And over the period of 3 months, you got 100 projects, you got so many learnings, and you could showcase, and the kind of experience you got in that extensive time can be like you're no more a junior. You already got experience with that, and you can prove them. Some of the example, some of the real examples I want to show. It might look kind of, for talking it might look good, but I really want to show some real use cases where it really happened. For example, I was at a React Day conference. It was nearly 1.5 years ago, I guess. So there was a talk from Meghana. She's a dentist, and she got into front-end development. And I can share you the link later if you want to watch. It's just a 7-minute talk. And she started creating every day front-end different applications, every day committing on GitHub and publishing it, what she learned on Twitter. And over the period of 3 months, she got so much of learning, and she started applying for the job. And she was no more a junior developer, and she kind of already experienced, and she got an offer there as an Auto One group. And she started as a junior front-end developer. I think now she's a front-end developer there. So this really happened, and it's possible. And to get what I'm talking about, there are a lot of programs that are going on. For example, Gatsby runs 100 days of Gatsby. You can start picking their challenges if you're not getting enough ideas, and you can consume their framework or a platform, and you can start building your front-end applications. So that's the one way. That's the one way to start. And you can also collect feedback from your other competitors or other people who are participating in hackathon, and trying to pair with them, trying to learn from them, and what mistakes you did, and how do they solve. Trying to looking at other people code can really also help you to speed up you to get that experience. Okay, just wanna share my experience. For example, this is a little bit old. I think it was 4 years ago or 5 years ago. I want to apply for a job at Stack Overflow, product manager role, and they have one of the toughest interview process, and getting into some level itself is difficult, and it's like really hard. And they also cannot pay for you when you're in the middle of the interview process, like they give challenge number of hours you take. So for me, I had no experience on product management at that time, and I wanted to apply for that role. What I did was I took one of their part of their website, and I created what are the usability problems they have, and I made some suggestions to them. Along with my application, I shared this blog post I wrote and asked them, I really want to bring value for them because I really care. I think it really bring value for them already. It shows that I didn't have any experience, but it shows the confidence for them that I can really bring value for them. For example, here, you can also apply the same principle, right? You got some UX concepts, you know how to apply empathy, you know how to do some user research, you know how to do some user testing, you know how to do some prototyping. You can apply what you learned and to the real projects. That brings more value. For example, this is a blog I wrote for them and what challenges they have. And I did some ideations and I proposed some solutions for them. and they really liked, and they asked for me for interview. And yeah, that's really works. And I highly recommend you to give it a try whenever you apply for a new company or a company you really like to work on. See how can you bring value. Yeah, that brings to me the next point. I think it's already start. It's typo. Already start working on your dream role. What I mean is start working. Imagine what their expectations are, what problems they are solving, what tools they are using, and what challenges they have. How do they look like? Start concepting. If you got some design concepts, start preparing design concepts for the topics and for the products they're working on, and how you can bring value. Do some user testing. If it's a B2C product, try to do some user testing, or try to do some user testing online, and try to get some feedback and give your vision. How do you visualize the solutions and how you can bring value? And if you're looking for a front-end role, if the company is doing some API, start consuming their APIs and build some interface and showcase them. Hey, I know how to build using whatever the platform, whatever the framework they're asking for. It could be React or Angular. Build some examples and show them that you're capable of doing what's there expected in the job role. That way, one way you can get rid of experience, right? You can already show that you got that experience and you can really can do a job, can really bring value for them. Okay, and moving on to the feedback about the job interviews, right? And one of the advice I can give you is whenever you get a rejection letter, always ask for the feedback. Always ask, how can you make your application better next time for the same position? And I'm not sure if it's true, and I guess they're not allowed to give you the exact reason why they didn't choose you. I don't know if it's according to German law. I don't know. But if they say that, you could also ask for, can give your mobile number. It worked for me in the past. And hey, can you please call me? I would really like to know what went wrong. So most of the time, it really works. The HR really calls. And I also talk to a lot of HR people in the Berlin, where I run community events. They say that they're also disappointed that a lot of the applicants don't ask for feedback. Whenever they send this generic mail, they just kind of don't respond. But I'm asking you to please respond, ask for the feedback. How can you make the next time better next time, right? For the same position if you want to apply. So that way you'll get to know what went wrong and how you can prepare for the next interview better and avoid that mistake again. For example, this is a real mail I got for me, and I got a rejection mail, as I shown in the beginning. I asked for this. Is there anything I can do to make myself more attractive for this position like this in future? They actually answered me. The reason we had was more people with relevant UI commerce product experience. Okay, that's good to know. I would suggest you ensuring the products you worked on really sings out of true of your CV. So this I wouldn't have got if I just neglected that. And this kind of feedback is really, really valuable. And sometimes they also give you through phone call, they really want to share, hey, you did really well there and you didn't do well in that last round. And you have to be more confident. You have to give more examples. That's where you gone there, right? That's where you didn't do well. That's what we felt you're not ready for this role or something like that, right? So yeah, I think please ask for the feedback. That's the best way you can learn. And that's the best way you can take advantage from the companies you're applying for. Okay, and final words. Don't apply for all the jobs. Like it's sometimes tempting to apply for all the roles because kind of desperate situation. Hey, I really want a job badly. But what I would suggest you is take a step back. It's hard. It's hard. It's easy to say, but it's hard. Look at what your purpose is. What do you really enjoy? What do you really want to do? And what companies you really like. It could also be, you can list top 10 companies and start working, building some side projects. And it could be sustainability. For example, if you're really passionate on sustainability, think about companies like Ecosia and some other green energy companies, and show your passion. I think the chances of getting is really higher if you're really passionate. Also, you enjoy the job. And yeah. And also look back your background, right? For example, I've seen my students at Career Foundry. They started as they were fashion designers, and now they want to switch to UX design. And look back what are the things you worked in the previously you can apply, bring back to your new role, right? Transferable skills, like color matchings and UX patterns and trends and artistic way of thinking. For example, I had a fashion designer as a UX student, and she was designing very artistic way those UX portfolio websites. That was a kind of a huge skill, because what I've seen, most of them are more on a process oriented, and a lot of them were missing the artistic angle. And she can be a great asset to the team to bring more creativity into the those UX and user interfaces. So think about, don't think as you're a junior for these positions, whatever the career switch you're doing. Think about what transferable skills you got. For example, one more example, let's say you are previously in some customer-facing roles, and you're now doing switching to UX positions, right? So you can talk about empathy. How you were helping in your previous role to your clients and customers. What were their pain points? How were you supporting them? And what is the empathy you are applying them, right? So you can explain, and you can also put it in your portfolio that, hey, in my previous role, I was a customer success manager or whatever, and a customer support. And you can talk about, hey, I was really kind of helping the pain points, solving the pain points of our customers. And I was thinking of empathetically. And it's the same principle, right? Applying when you want to design some UX design, you think about your users, what is your target users, and what is the best design for them. So applying same principles, it shows you already experienced there. So yeah, whenever you apply for it, think about it, what transferable skills you got, and update your CV accordingly. Okay. That also ends with, I would like to end with a really nice kind of a tip that please do whenever, don't apply the generic resume or a CV to all the application. Please look at the job description, look at which of those really matches with your previous experience or with your new skills you got, highlight those. So prepare every job interview or apply for it, change your content of your resume or CV or portfolio so that you have a really high success of getting them. And also you have to tell those story which is really matching what they're expecting. With that, that's all I want to share, and I'm now open for questions. And of course, feel free to connect me on LinkedIn or Twitter, or please feel free to email me. I'm happy to talk to you. If you have any questions, how can I help you? Really, I'm happy to talk.